Higgins to inquire.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Secretary, thank you for being here. During the past 24 months of the COVID pandemic, there are various estimates as to how much we've spent, $4.5 to $5.5 trillion. What would have happened had we not done that at that time, relative to the American economy and relative to the global economy?
Well, we faced, when President Biden was elected, the possibility that unemployment would stay at exceptionally high levels for a very long time. We could have had a situation, it certainly was a risk, as great as the Great Depression. And I think that that was the overwhelming risk facing the administration. When you remember that the biggest burdens fell on the lowest income households, both the health burdens and the economic burdens, it was critical to make sure that we didn't have a generation that was scarred, whose lives would be impacted forever. And the success of the policy that was adopted is that we have an economy with the strongest labor market, arguably in the entire post-war period. And workers are finding new work that pays them higher wages. The quit rate, which is in a way a measure of how secure workers feel about their outside opportunities and the outside offers they're getting, that has reached records. And household financial security, the average balances that even the lowest income households have in their bank account has gone up. The Federal Reserve recently conducted a study. They routinely ask households, could you afford a $400 unexpected expense? And since the survey started, the most recent is the largest fraction of Americans who said that they could manage a $400 expense. So we've had a real recovery. The job market is strong. Without question, inflation is way too high and has to be brought down. But most of that reflects issues related to the pandemic as it's affected global supply chains, caused shortages of things like semiconductors, and energy and food prices that have been dramatically impacted globally, the United States and elsewhere, by Russia's war against Ukraine.
Well, Madam Secretary, I must tell you, I admire your response, because typically it's members that take up most of the time of those they're questioning. My time's up. But I just want to, you subscribe or support the statement that because of what we had to do in the short term, put out a lot of money into an economy that's 70% consumption, that we had too much money chasing too few goods. And to what extent is that the reason for the inflationary rate as it is today? I know about global supply chains, I know about disruption, I know about gas prices, but I'm just curious that, what is the answer if you have to do something in the short term to save the economy from collapsing, but the longer term or intermediate term, that creates a problem like inflation?
Answer briefly, please.
Yes.
Madam Secretary.
So that spending produced excellent rewards for Americans, and at most it contributed modestly to inflation.
Thank the gentleman.